On the night of May 14th, 1988, a church youth group from Radcliff, Kentucky was riding home from a fun day at an amusement park. They were tired, laughing, and ready to go home. What they did not know was that they were seconds away from one of the deadliest drunk driving crashes in American history. A single pickup truck coming the wrong way on Interstate 71 would turn a normal ride into a nightmare that left the entire nation shocked. In an instant, the gasoline inside the bus ignited, turning the interior into an inferno. 27 people, most of them children, died in the flames. This is the story of the Carrollton Bus Collision, one of the worst highway disasters the United States has ever seen. The group had spent the day at Kings Island, near Cincinnati. The bus was a 1977 Ford school bus that had been converted for church trips. It was crowded, carrying 67 people, mostly teenagers and a few adults. As night fell, the bus headed south on Interstate 71 toward their hometown. The passengers were relaxed and in good spirits. For many of them, this was supposed to be a highlight of the year. At the same time, a man named Larry Mahoney had been drinking heavily. Witnesses later confirmed that he had spent much of the day and evening consuming alcohol. He got behind the wheel of his Toyota pickup truck and entered Interstate 71, traveling the wrong direction, heading north in the southbound lanes. Drivers who passed him flashed their headlights and honked, but Mahoney did not respond. Investigators later found his blood alcohol level to be far above the legal limit. At 10:55 p.m., the bus was traveling normally in the right lane when Mahoney's truck came straight toward it. The impact was nearly head-on. The front of the truck struck the front left area of the bus with tremendous force, causing the front suspension and steering column of the bus to collapse inward. That collapse punctured the unprotected fuel tank, which was mounted in a vulnerable location at the front of the bus. Gasoline spilled instantly and ignited. Flames erupted with explosive force, racing toward the back of the bus in seconds. Inside the bus, the lights went out and thick smoke filled the interior. Passengers screamed as the heat grew intense almost immediately. Many tried to reach the rear emergency exit, but the narrow aisle was jammed with people trying to escape at the same time. Some children were disoriented by the darkness and were pushed toward the fire instead of away from it. The fire was so rapid and so hot that survivors later said it felt like the entire bus burst into flames almost instantly. The bus driver, John Pierman, was badly injured from the impact, but managed to unlatch the main door so people could escape. However, the front door was partially blocked by wreckage, and flames were already reaching the front section where the impact occurred. This forced many passengers toward the single emergency exit at the rear. A few people managed to crawl through broken side windows. By the time rescuers arrived, the bus was engulfed. In total, 27 people died. 23 victims were trapped inside the bus and died from the fire and smoke. 4 died outside the bus near the scene. 40 survivors escaped, many with severe burns and injuries. The tragedy devastated families across Kentucky and quickly became national news. Emergency responders described the scene as one of the worst they had ever witnessed. Firefighters from Carroll County and nearby towns raced to the crash site. When they arrived, they found the bus fully consumed by flames. Survivors were running from the wreckage, screaming for help. Smoke filled the air. There was confusion everywhere, and responders had to act fast to help survivors while also dealing with the burning vehicle. The National Transportation Safety Board launched a full investigation. They examined several factors. First was the wrong-way driver. Mahoney later stated that he had no memory of the crash due to intoxication. He survived the collision but was arrested at the scene. Second was the vulnerability of the bus itself. The fuel tank on the 1977 Ford bus had no protective shield, making it highly susceptible to rupture. The interior materials were not fire-resistant, allowing the flames to spread quickly. There were also only a small number of emergency exits compared to modern buses. The investigation concluded that the primary cause was alcohol impairment. However, the rapid spread of the fire was made significantly worse by design flaws in the bus. The NTSB determined that survivability would have been much higher if the fuel tank had been protected and if the bus interior had better fire resistance. Many passengers were alive after the collision, but the fire eliminated almost all chances of escape. The tragedy shook the nation and led to major changes in safety regulations. New standards were put into place that required school buses and similar vehicles to have better fuel tank protection. Buses had to use fire-resistant seat materials, wider emergency exits, and improved interior designs that slow down fire spread. Kentucky also passed stricter drunk driving laws, including tougher penalties and expanded programs to reduce impaired driving. Another major impact of the Carrollton disaster was the rise of Mothers Against Drunk Driving, known as MADD, as a national force. The group used this event to push for stronger alcohol control, lower legal blood alcohol limits, and public awareness of the dangers of drunk driving. The crash became a major turning point in the fight against drunk driving in America. Larry Mahoney was convicted of multiple counts of manslaughter, assault, and driving under the influence. He was sentenced to 16 years in prison and served about 9 before being released on parole. Many of the families affected by the crash felt that no punishment could match the magnitude of the tragedy, but they used their grief to advocate for laws that would protect others. The survivors of the crash carried lifelong scars. Some suffered permanent burns, others emotional trauma that lasted decades. Yet many survivors went on to speak publicly about the dangers of drunk driving and the need for safer buses. For them, remembering the 27 lives lost became a mission, not just a memory. The Carrollton Bus Collision remains one of the deadliest drunk driving accidents in American history. It was a tragedy born from one man's reckless decision to drive while intoxicated, but it exposed deeper issues in vehicle design and highway safety. Because of this crash, thousands of buses built after 1988 are safer, stronger, and better equipped to protect passengers from fire. What happened on May 14, 1988, is still remembered today. It serves as a powerful reminder that one decision can change dozens of lives in an instant. It shows how vital it is to prevent impaired driving and how important it is for vehicles, especially buses carrying children, to have proper safety features. While the victims can never be brought back, the changes made because of their loss have saved countless lives since. Thank you for watching this story. If you enjoyed learning something new today, make sure to subscribe, like the video, and leave a comment telling us what you thought of this story.